New Star Wars Legion is here. Today we are going to take a look at Han Solo, the new commander for Star Wars Legion, and the Rebel Commanders, bringing a little bit of spice to the game with some of their squad abilities. Now, both of these miniatures are currently available from FFG on their site, your local game store, and of course Miniature Market, where you can always get Star Wars Legion for less. I think Han goes for $12.95 as most commanders retail, and the Commandos, as with most unit expansions. Now, we haven't seen the little squad expansions like the gunners and stuff like that quite yet, but these typically always seem to go for at least $24.95 right now, but some of the vehicles a little bit more. But we're not there. We are right here right now, so let's crack these bad boys open and take a look, starting with Han. So Han Solo is pretty unique. He's got some really interesting command cards that I think might shake things up a little bit. Now, I'm no Legion expert. I play at a very novice level. I guess a lot of things here I have to kind of play at a novice level just in order to kind of understand but not specialize in any one thing. So it's going to come with your miniature, which is going to be your typical push fit, and we'll put it together here in like 2 seconds. 3 command cards, 3 upgrade cards, 12 of the tokens, the rule sheet, and yada yada yada. So here's what it all is going to break down to. Now, if you were at Adepticon, you probably got some promo. They had the promo commander card, which was pretty neat. It was like a full art type deal. I don't know what they're going for, but on the secondary market, they definitely were fetching a little bit of value there for a while after the Adepticon event. So there's all your tokens and everything, your activation, and Han himself. So there you can see the breakdown on Han's miniature. Very easy to put together. Legs, torso, arms, super easy. We threw this guy together right here. There's the focus, and he looks great. Just use a little bit of poster tag to get him affixed down to the base. Too early for glue, in my opinion. It's too early in the morning to be gluing miniatures. Oh my goodness. So he goes together quite well, and just even with push fit, very little gaps right there. So I'm super digging that. Now, this is probably, like I said, usually we saw it with Rune Wars, and we're definitely seeing it with Legion. As they get better and coming out with miniatures, they're getting better at the sculpts. You can definitely tell that is Han Solo, Harrison Ford's likeness for sure. And it just looks like a really dope kind of dynamic miniature. We saw it with Veers where he's grabbing for his pistol. Here Han's already drawn. He's got his Endor cloak. So it's a little bit different than what we would expect, the typical smuggler Han, but I'm definitely digging this miniature. So what do his cards do? Well, that's where it gets a little crazy. Because first off, and I'll be honest, I did some research on this. I didn't just come into this like, I don't know what these cards do. I have been following the articles, but actually seeing this on the table, I was like, oh, cool. There's some neat stuff here. I don't know what this upgrade symbol is. I looked everywhere for this thing. And if you look, I just can't find it. So if somebody knows what this upgrade symbol is, which corresponds to the new duck and cover, let us know in the comments, because I can't seem to find it anywhere. There was no documentation. Sometimes in X-Wing, they put it in here, and we're going to see it with the Rebel Commandos too. There's no documentation in here, just the new Uncanny Luck and Gunslinger and the other one right there. So you've got 3 new command cards. I like this one because it's going to get you in before any of the 1-pip stuff. It counts as 1-pip, but it's basically 0, right? And it's going to get him ready for action with the aim token and dodge. And then you got the other 2 cards here, which are pretty cool. And you can combo the 2 with a lot of different stuff out there, and kind of really mess up like a lot of you can mess with Vader's buttons, so to speak, too. Because if you got somebody marching across the table and they're just going to start wrecking you, well, then maybe you can kind of take the initiative on them, and that's really cool to see. So he's got the ability to kind of get out there and not get shot at, because he doesn't have that innate ability to kind of deflect damage onto nearby core choices and such. Emergency stims is interesting. I mean, you're still going to take the wounds, but it's going to allow you to maybe hold the objective, or in what we're going to see with the Rebel Commandos case, maybe detonate something, or just make that final shot, something like that. His blaster pistol is pretty sweet. It's range 1 to 2, but it shoots at 2 red and has Pierce 2. He's got surges on both offensive and defensive. What else here? Uncanny Luck is great. All of his abilities are pretty good for 120 points. He definitely brings a little bit different flavor to your builds out there for the Rebel side right now. Next up is the Rebel Commandos expansion for Legion. Now this is where things get a little crazy, because you got 2 different ways to fill these these units here, which is really, really interesting to see the way they're going with this. You get the standard 7 miniatures, but you get 2 different unit cards, and we'll talk about that here in a second. 5 upgrade cards, 17 assorted tokens, 1 rule sheet. And of course, they do come with duck and cover, and I don't know what upgrade slot that is, so please leave it in the comments. I'm sure the very first person that watches this is like, hey, stupid, it's this. But yeah, I looked for it. I could not find it. I looked in all the rules documentation and things. I even looked on the back here. It's not here. You do have like the detonate and the charge type and all that new stuff, the heavy weapon team, which I assume all the like the E-Web blaster and things is also going to work like that. Now it's going to come with all of your upgrade cards, which here's the 2 different types now, and then of unit cards, and then your upgrades, all your tokens and everything. You got the different types of detonate, like active and not active, I guess it is, and your bases and all of your models right here. Now this is how they go together, and I feel like I'll just grab one real quick and put it together. But here you can kind of see again. Not quite as multi-part as before. Some of them don't have extra arms, but some of them have extra arms and such. But I'll grab one with like the sniper rifle or something, or kind of cool looking to put together here in a second, and then we'll talk it out. So the push fit went together pretty well. This is the sniper rifle Deuter upgrade card, or upgrade heavy weapon upgrade slot. A little bit of poster tack there. Again, too early in the morning to be gluing. It's crazy. So it looks like everything goes together quite well. There's a little bit of gap right there, but a little bit of light plastic glue or light glue will get you fixed up. I prefer the Tamiya, what is this, thin cement. This works pretty well, but you may want to use gap filler glue by BSI Industries. This stuff's pretty good too, and it fills pretty well into gaps such as that, and adheres in like 5 to 10 seconds. You might notice that the barrel is also a little bent, but that's okay. You can run this under some hot water or hit it with a hair dryer and just kind of hold it without burning yourself with your finger, and run it under some cold water, and it'll just kind of adhere into place right there. So for the most part, very easy to put together. Arms, rifle arm, supporting arm, top, bottom, good to go right there. Now, as far as the cards themselves go, this is where it gets really interesting. So a little bit different of a mechanic. We have the heavy weapon team, the introduction to the heavy weapon team, 16 points. And then from there, you can play either the Proton Saboteur or the Sniper, which makes those the leaders of the squad. So you go from 1 to 2. And so I guess you kind of have a spotter and like an action kind of person. But conversely, and they have some really interesting abilities. You can check FFG's site, like how this all works. And this is why kind of some of these upgrade cards also work, because emergency stims would allow you to, maybe take some wounds from missed activation, and then you keep your guys in the game here, because there's only 2 dudes in here, right? And these take 2 wounds off of it. So this is like a perfect combo for this, in my opinion. And then, maybe make the shot, maybe detonate something that's holding down an objective or something like that. This can keep people from getting to objectives. It has unlimited range past 1. High velocity. It's gonna take away, cannot spend dodge tokens. I thought there was something else you could do that would, something have blast. Oh, is this? So this one has blast. So this is just gonna ignore cover altogether. This one is gonna not allow them to spend dodge tokens. And if you really have to, you could uplink them so they get to activate first, but I wouldn't do both because it seems kind of redundant at that point. Because if you need to get the initiative off, you do this. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of tact here, which is really interesting. And then, of course, you have just the base commandos themselves for 60 points. Now, they're a little bit more expensive than the Rebel Troopers that we saw originally, and these guys have the nimble ability, and they have the blaster rifle. Everything's pretty much the same as far as that goes, except for their panic threshold. They have double surge, too, which is kind of nice. They have a lot more upgrade slots. They have scout, they have sharpshooter, they have low profile. So, all in all, they're probably worth the extra 60 points, well, extra 20 points, but how they fit into your scheme overall is going to be really interesting. Now, you can still take the heavy weapons here, too, if you want, and it becomes part of the squad, but sometimes maybe it'd be better to break away. They count as a core as well, but you can only have so many cores. We all know that currently, in the game. Who knows where it's going to go in the future, but right now I feel like this is kind of a good mix up to the game right here, because everything's kind of being a little bit stagnant right now. You like, you know, do you take a couple commanders? Do you only take one commander? Do you go heavy on heavy, or do you not go heavy on heavy? And that's kind of where the game seems right now, at least from my perspective, on the novice side of things. So I really like the kind of like the tactical like choices this is bringing into play, and hopefully with its Imperial counterpart here soon as well. So overall, definitely a really exciting time for Star Wars Legion still with these 2 expansions. Can't wait to see what is up next for the Imperial side of things as we slide on into the fall, and hopefully more exciting Legion releases before the holidays. Now make sure to pick up yours today from Miniature Market or your friendly local game store, or anywhere Fantasy Flight games are sold.